Hello everyone, Ollie here from ℸ𝕀𝕦 Cinema, and last night I decided to rewatch Mortal Kombat, the 1995 adaptation. Yeah, so I'm reviewing these a bit earlier because I'm actually reviewing the 1995 film Annihilation and the 2021 reboot in preparation for watching Mortal Kombat 2 that's coming out in May of 2026. Wish it was this month in October, but hey ho. So anyway, I'm doing these reviews earlier because I have no idea where I'm going to be at in May, like how busy I'm going to be, because I'm at university currently, and as of recording, this is probably going to be the best time to do these reviews. So I'm doing them now. I'll try and rewatch these films before, the second film releases. But in terms of wanting to review these films, I'm doing them now, so they're done. So here we are with the 1995 Mortal Kombat film today, and then I'll review the other two films hopefully as soon as I can. And that's about it. So let me just quickly give you a brief history on, my brief history with Mortal Kombat. So I need to get this out of the way. I've not played a single Mortal Kombat game ever in my life so far. I couldn't play them when I was younger because they're too graphically violent, and I wasn't able to play many fighting games growing up, so it was restrictive. And I didn't even know about Mortal Kombat growing up. I like Mario, fucking SpongeBob, all that kind of shit. So I was a good kid. No offense to anyone who actually played Mortal Kombat when they were little, but I'm just saying that I was brought up on a more kid-friendly side. So I had a good childhood. So I still haven't played any of the games. I intend to after I watch the second Mortal Kombat film, because I want to go into the second film still with the mindset of not being a fan of the games. So I'm not going to be playing it. I'm not going to be playing any of the games up until the release of the second film. The one coming out in May next year. So my only knowledge of coming into this new second film is going to be this 1995 film, Annihilation, and the 2021 reboot. So that's that. So how did I get into this series, or at least these films, and sort of the games as well, even though I haven't played any of them? So from memory, now Dusty. So who's Dusty? I need to clarify this. So Dusty is actually Rusty. So Rusty has renamed herself to Dusty. I've actually renamed all the videos from Rusty to Dusty, just to clarify that, and now she's going to be named as Dusty. So anyway, Dusty lent me her DVD copy of the 1995 film, and also her 4K and Blu-ray of the 2021 film. This was like a few months ago. I can't exactly remember when exactly, but I think it was like back in February or something this year, or maybe later actually, maybe like March, April, I don't know. I'll double check, but anyway, early this year. So she lent me her two copies of the two films, and so obviously I decided to watch the 1995 film first, because obviously that's the one that came out first. So I've watched this film now like maybe 2.5 times. So the first time I attempted to watch it was, I watched half of it roughly, maybe slightly less than half of the film. Wasn't really a fan of it. I turned it off. It was actually in the evening, so I was a bit tired anyway. So I thought, well, I'll come back to this one and try and give it another go. So instead of actually rewatching it the next day, I actually ended up watching the 2021 film instead, which I'm kind of glad I did, because it kind of rejuvenated my excitement for this 1995 film, because some of the things which I'll mention in the actual review comes into play here. So anyway, so I watched half of the 1995 film for my first time, then I decided to watch the 2021 film, I think. And then I went back to watch the 1995 film. Fucking hell, that's a mouthful there. So that's what happened. And I'll explain my positive, mixed, negatives. So I've got my phone here. I've noted down all my positive, mixed, and negatives of this film. So starting off with my positives for Mortal Kombat 1995. The first one that immediately comes to mind is when the film actually starts. During the title sequence is the soundtrack, in particularly the Techno Syndrome track, the Mortal Kombat, nah, and like, it's just like, it gets you bumping. I'm like, shit. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like, god damn, this is a great intro, with a great song. Like, we haven't actually seen the footage yet of the film, and I'm like, god damn, this is great. It fits the actual tone of the film. I mean, I'll talk about the tone later on in the review, but it fits the actual film, the music. It fits quite well. So that's my first positive. The next one is kind of for what this film can do with a PG-13 rating, because they didn't want to do R because they want to try to appeal to kids, which the games aren't. Even though a lot of kids back in the day did play Mortal Kombat when they shouldn't have done. Sorry, Dusty. They obviously did playing it, but obviously, you know, I guess Warner Brothers, I think it's was it Warner Brothers? Yeah, Warner Brothers wanted to keep it family friendly in a way, to keep it, you know, as less gory as possible. So it's very much like Street Fighter, you know, like a lot of punching and kicking without any bloody detail, which for what this film could do, it was good. Like, I thought it was fun. It was fun, campy, which is kind of another positive for me, is kind of its campy tone, which my initial first watch I wasn't a big fan, but once I understood like what this film was trying to do and serve to the loyal fans, like I opened up myself towards it more. So I like the campy tone, obviously the soundtrack I already mentioned, the action, even though I would have liked to see a bit of blood and gore, for what we got, I thought it was serviceable. I thought it was good. So those are my positives so far. I guess lastly is some of the standout performances. Now, I don't know any of the actors and actresses' names, but I guess one of them is the actor who plays Shang Tsung. I'm still getting used to the names. I can picture the characters, but some of the names I'm still getting used to. But like Kano, Sonya, Raiden, like some of those ones are easy to remember, but some are like Liu Kang, I only just remembered on top of my head. At Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, and all those ones are a bit, I tend to forget every now and again. So those I'm still trying to get used to. But Shang Tsung, the main antagonist of the film, stood out to me in a good way. It stood out. He stood out. Like, he was quite funny. Like, he was trying to be quite dramatic in a way, but obviously he has these one-liners like, "Your soul is mine." There it is. There's before. "Your soul is mine." With the kind of zoom in, the close up. Like, yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, he's great. I really like. I mean, I do like Johnny Cage. Although I am really looking forward to seeing what Carl Urban does with Johnny Cage. Also, I don't remember the actor's name for this Johnny Cage, but he was good. I liked him. Like, he was quite funny, quirky. His arc was good. Like, from being this kind of self-indulgent prick, while still being funny. You know, kind of having this, maybe not the biggest arc ever, but he kind of becomes kind of a more of a good guy by the end of the film. And then, of course, we got Liu Kang, obviously the main character we follow, the main protagonist, because obviously his brother gets killed by Shang Tsung, and that's obviously his revenge, basically, is to kill him. His character's great. I do like Kano gets, unlike the 2021 film, which I'll talk about when I get to that review. This one, for what we get of him, I kind of like him. Obviously, he's kind of more on the bad side, but I still kind of like him. I do like Sonya Blade. I mean, I like that she's a badass and she isn't kind of like this damsel in distress kind of character, because obviously it's like the 90s and, you know, some female characters in films are, you know, not like that, but I'm glad that she can, you know, kind of stand up for herself and everything. So she's cool. Also, I'll talk about a little bit her other character soon, in my other aspects of the film, but I do like her personality. Sure, those are kind of my overall positives. Like some of the performances, the campy charm I like, the soundtrack, and some of the action as well. Well, I wanted a bit more gore and blood or whatever, but those are my main positives. So moving on to my mixed. Now, while I like, for the most part, the campy tone of the film, some of the tonal balance between the kind of dramatic sides, like when, you know, we've got the opening with Shang Tsung, you know, killing Liu Kang's brother, like that's kind of dramatic in a way, but until obviously he points to the camera and says, "Your soul is mine," obviously that's, yeah, that kind of changes a bit. But if I had to nitpick, some of the tonal balance was a bit miffy, but that's why it's in my mix, not my negatives. So that's my first mixed aspect. Some of the character focuses, like while I did like Sonya Blade, I wish her character was a little bit more utilised. I mean, obviously I know that Liu Kang was our main character, our main focus, but it would have been cool to see her more, Sonya, and also have her character develop a bit more. And then Katana as well. Like, Katana is someone we see more further on in the film. I'd like to, you know her a bit more, her personality and everything, which obviously if you're a fan of the game you already know, but for people, newcomers like me that haven't played any games, that are watching this film for the first time, it's a bit disappointing. But anyway, bit of a nitpick, but that's it. I think it's only those two are my mixed. So now moving on to the negatives for me, the special effects being the kind of the elephant in the room. I know it's the 90s, and you know that's kind of when special effects, CGI kind of first, well, I guess the 80s, but mainly the 90s is kind of where it really came up. You know, the 90s, many of the CGI effects are like practical effects. There are some practical effects which I do appreciate in this film, but most of the CGI effects don't really hold up for me. Like Sub-Zero's ice effects. And Scorpion's thing where the rope comes, you know, the fucking creature thing comes out of his hand, like, and then it comes out a bit. I think Goro, is Goro practical or CGI? Is it a bit of both? Dusty, if you're watching this, which I'm hoping you are, you have to let me know in the comments. But I thought Goro was okay, even though I'm in my negative, so I should be saying that. But anyway, my second negative, I think a couple of the underused villains, like I've already mentioned, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Man, when you compare their characters in this and also in the 2021 film, it's a massive difference. Like, them in the 2021 film, when I get to it, they play more of prominent characters. Like, they are like the kind of good and bad of the film. Whereas in this, they're side characters which kind of just left. Like I've seen the bits that I have seen of them in the games, they are badass and they look cool, whereas in this they look really goofy and a bit weird. Like, I don't know if they were supposed to represent their character designs in the original games. I'm gonna guess so. Then I'm gonna have to try and forgive it, because it's that, but I thought they looked a bit goofy in my opinion, and the way, especially the way they were utilised as well. Like, again, they were underused. I don't know. I just didn't like the way they were utilised in the film, to be honest. Also, I don't know anything about their characters from the game, so I can't really say too much more about them. But I just wish they were used more, unlike the way they were in the 2021 reboot film. So, yeah. So that's my second negative. Some of the editing at times was a bit choppy, like some of the camera angles and some of the, again, it could be nitpicky, but that's kind of another thing that I've noticed, like the way that, as a university student who's wanting to become an editor, a film editor, kind of noticed a couple of things where I'm like kind of noticing a few bits. I'm like, it's a bit off, but I'll try and let it slide. But I couldn't help but include this in my negatives because it was a little bit in your face for me anyway. So I think there's one more negative. I think yeah, some of the dialogue from some of the characters were a bit like a bit weird, a bit naff, but most like the one-liners and some of the jokes in the film landed for me. There's a couple that didn't, and then some of the other bits of dialogue which are a bit, it's a bit cheesy. Like, some of the dialogue worked for me and some of it didn't, basically. So yeah, I think that's really it, I think, for my negatives. I mean, the story, I wasn't expecting much from the story because I heard that there wasn't too much of it. I mean, there's a lot of world building, I think, but in terms of the actual main storyline, it's interesting to me. Like, it's quite thin, but it works for me. Like, it's a fighting film, martial arts, fantasy film, and it worked for me. I thought the story was interesting. That this guy is wanting to get revenge on his brother, and obviously there's this tournament, and there are these two realms that are going up against each other, and there's this tournament, and yeah, I just found that very interesting. So some people might find the story a bit paper thin, but most of it worked for me. So I'm not going to include that in my negatives, but if I had to, I might do that. But that's it, really. So while some of the effects and some of the weird bits of dialogue and some of the character utilizations in the film, while those I don't like, most of the film does work for me. Like the tone, the soundtrack, some of the stand-up performances. You know what I've been saying. I've already been saying it, but basically, I like this film more than I don't like it. So that's that. So I'm going to give this film a 6 out of 10. Give it a 6. I know that Dusty's probably going to be screaming at the screen like 6. I obviously rate things differently than you, Dusty, as you already know this. So it is what it is. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the games. Obviously, I haven't played any of the games, so I'm going to have a different perspective of things. So obviously, I'm sure you enjoy this film more than I do, so makes sense. So yeah, 6 out of 10, a 3-star film, which is, to me, that's not bad. It's an okay rating. I thought it was okay. I think it's perfectly rewatchable, but yeah, I think that's about it, guys. So got Annihilation coming up next, which I don't have that on Blu-ray. Obviously, I have the original on Blu-ray, the 90s one, and I also got the 2021 film, but I didn't bother getting the Annihilation film because I knew that was terrible, so I ended up buying it on Prime Video. It was only about $3.99. I think it was on sale, so I thought, well, may as well do that. So look out for my review for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, coming soon, hopefully as soon as I can. Can't guarantee when, which is why I'm not going to say when. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed my review for Mortal Kombat 1995. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this film. Did you grow up playing the games, or maybe you didn't and you watched this film maybe for the first time. Let me know what you thought of the film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What would you rate the film? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.